Amen. 16th chapter, the Old Testament book of Judges. To Pastor Whetstone and Pastor Thomas, God bless you, the officers of this church, the visiting officers, to all of our survivors, and to their families, and to everyone present. We thank God for your presence here with us today. Judges chapter 16, and beginning at verse number 19, I want to encourage us with a few words from the text. Judges chapter 16, verse number 19 begins by saying, "And she made him sleep upon her knees, and she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And she said, The Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as at other times before, and shake myself. And he was not, that the Lord was departed from him. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes and brought him down to Gaza and bound him with feathers of brass that he did grind in the prison house." Verse 22, "Howbeit the hair on his head began to grow again after he was shaven. And the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon, their little g god, and to rejoice. For they said, Our little g god has delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. All right. And when the people saw him, they praised their little g god. For they said, Our little g god hath delivered into our hands our enemy, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us." Verse 25, "And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, Call for Samson, that he may make us sport, or entertain, or perform for us. And they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport, and they set him between the pillars." Verse 26, "And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, Suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there. And there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women that beheld while Samson made sport. And Samson," verse 28, "called unto the Lord and said, O Lord God, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me, I pray thee, only this once, O God, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes." Verse 29, "And Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, on which it was borne up, of one on his right hand and the other with his left. And Samson said, Let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the lords and upon all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life." And the text concludes in verse number 31, "Then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him, and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol into the burying place of Manoah, his father. And he judged Israel for 20 Thank you for tolerating us for just a moment today. I need your prayers. I want to just for a moment think about this thought. I am not my hair. I am not my hair. It's the words of India Irie. I am not my hair. As we consider this text for a moment today, after 3 failed attempts, a woman by the name of Delilah is recorded in the Bible as worrying Samson to death, that he would reveal to her where his strength would come from. Upon this 4th time, our Bible tells us that Samson gives in. Says that if the locks of my hair are cut, that I will be weak as any other man. As Delilah makes Samson lay his head down in her lap, Delilah calls for a man to come and to cut Samson's hair. Yes, sir. The Bible uses some interesting words in verse number 19, where it says that when his hair was cut, that she began to afflict him, and his strength began to leave. She began to afflict him, to make him weak, and to subdue him. The Bible says all of his strength had left. His eyes were poked out. The Bible says he was bound by 2 chains of bronze, that he spent his days in captivity, grinding grain in the prison house. And it's on one of their particular days of celebration that the Philistines call and say, "Bring us Samson, that he might entertain us, that he might amuse us." And with your spiritual eyes, can you see Samson come out a shell of who he used to be? Yes, sir. Samson was a strong man, a mighty man, a man known for his feats of strength. But the man that they bring out is not the same man that they were used to seeing. For they bring out a man that was weak now, whose eyes had been put out. Are y'all praying with me today? Who had to be carried anywhere he needed to go. A man who no longer is known by the strength in his body, but he is now a weak man. He is now a man that is less than what he was. And out comes this blind and bald-headed man, Samson. And many of us today have seen this same picture take place in our loved ones, or even in ourselves. Many times I get asked the question, why do I wear the pink ribbon? And it personally affected our family almost 9 years ago. It was difficult for my family, and especially for me, because it hit so close to home. It was my auntie. And this was not just any other auntie. But this was the aunt that I spent my summers with in all of grade school. She had a part in playing the role of raising. And like many of us, I saw my auntie in the strength of her days. She was very physically fit. I pray y'all are praying for me today. And all of my memories of her were in her strength. She was excellent in the business world. She rose up in the charts to a company that used to be called Bell South. And she was excellent at her work. She was committed to her family. She always did projects with her hands. So whether it was laying tile down, and she was known for her beautiful gardens that she would spend hours upon hours working in. Not only at her house, but even in her church. She was an usher. And you should have saw her standing on her post in strength, in vigor. But I saw cancer turn the woman that I knew into a shell of what she used to be. I'm going somewhere with this. She had long, dark, thick, curly, beautiful black hair. But as she began to deal with cancer, that hair was lost. And I'll never forget sitting in my grandmother's house when she came to tell my grandmother that she had cancer. And the crying that I heard my grandmother do would forever be in my mind as she saw the prognosis of cancer as if it was death. My auntie, in all of her strength and vigor, like many of us, of loved ones that we have seen, loved ones that we know, of family and friends that we have seen cancer wear down. And how many know it's difficult because the first thing you notice is what you see with your eyes. You see your loved one and you see them having lost a lot of weight. The strength that they once had, see they don't have it anymore. They used to could jump up and do what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. But cancer now has limited them in the strength and vigor that they once had. Cancer has a way, and not just cancer, but any other affliction, any other sickness, any other trouble or even trial that many of us may go through has a way of breaking us down. Yes, sir. And where we once would rise up in strength, we now find ourselves like the man Samson. But I like this story today because Samson shows us some things that can encourage all of us. And if you will, just tolerate me for a moment today, because Samson gives us some encouragement that we may miss if we read the text too fast. If we look back at the text today, verse number 28, you learn to understand that you don't put your trust in anything but God. One of the problems that we encounter is that we put our trust in everything but God. For Samson, as he stood between these supporting pillars, he prayed unto God. And he said, "Oh Lord, remember me and strengthen me." For this Samson understood that his help did not come from his hair. His strength didn't come from himself. But he had to understand that my strength comes from God. And I just help all of us for just a minute today. If you are going through anything, your strength does not come from yourself, but all of my help comes from the Lord. And can I tell you what God does every now and then? God knows how to strip us down of everything we put our trust in. Some of us put it in careers, and God has to strip it off. Some of us put it in money, and God has to strip it off. Some of us put it in our own selves. And what God does, he brings us down to the point the only thing we can do is look up. And can I tell you, when you finally put your trust in God, you'll realize it ain't even about me, but the reason I am what I am and I have what I have is all because of the Lord. And sometimes God has to get some things out of us so that we can put all of our trust in him. See, Samson thought it was his hair, but God had to get that cut off. Samson may have thought it was his good vision and he could see what was about to happen before it happened, but God took his eyes out. And you wonder why sometimes God takes you away from that job or closes that relationship. He wants you to learn how to trust him in all situations of life. So what happened? God teaches us how to trust him day by day. And let me just interject this here for a moment today, because some of us get so worried about tomorrow. When you hear a diagnosis or you hear bad news, you start thinking ahead and you start worrying about what happens down there. What happens in months or in weeks, and you forget that every day is a day of Thanksgiving. Listen, I may not have it all together today, but because I am alive, I've got something to raise my hand. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but as it stands right now that I have breath in my body and life in my limbs, today is a day of Thanksgiving. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Because how many know the same God that brought me down through the years yesterday is the same one that's keeping me today. And if he allows me to see tomorrow, he's going to be the same God. So sister, I can go back into the file cabinet of my life and realize that he brought me over last year, that he carried me over yesterday. And if he did it before, a song said he's the same God and he can do it right. God has to teach us how to put our trust only in him. He had to strip Samson down. But it was then that Samson cried out to God. Yes, sir. And then God heard his cry. Well, secondly, it's good for all of us to know where our strength really comes from. All right. Samson, after he had prayed, verse number 29 said that he prayed unto God. And he told the one that was leading him, the young man, he said, put my hands on the two pillars of this building. And even though he was weak, even though he was bald-headed, even though his strength had left him, when he finally prayed unto God, God gave him enough strength to push down the pillars. You ain't shouting because I just want to tell you the truth behind this. Some folks wonder, how did you make it? They see you weak. They see you going through your trials. They see you catching hell on your left hand and on your right hand, and they wonder, how in the world did you make it? But honestly, they don't know the God that you pray to. Because that God that you serve, he's got all power in his hands. That means that he can pick me up even when I'm down. Even when I'm way down, he can still lift me back up. That's how you're able to make it through the trials of life. We can't take no credit for ourselves. When the heavy burdens of life are on our backs, how many know it really ain't about us? But if God gives us the strength, we can keep on running. That's why when I pray to God, I say, God, give me this day our daily bread, and forgive me this day my sins. And if you give me strength for today, I'll be able to carry the load for as long as you desire. And I may not have the testimony that all of us have in here today, but I have my own testimony too, that when I was weak, God gave me strength. That when I didn't feel like I could make it, he gave me some encouragement that I could run on a little while longer. Is there anybody in the house today that can testify God gave me strength? When I was at my weakest point, yes, sir, God gave me strength. Can I tell you, when you go through stuff in life, don't turn away from God. That's when we ought to be running to God. The psalmist said, I look unto the hills, for which cometh my help. For all of my help comes from the Lord. So if I really want to be able to survive the storms of life, or the affliction or problems or even sicknesses that I have in life, I have to look to God. Yes, sir. And I put my eyes on God. He gives me strength. Well, not only the Samson allows us to see that we have to put our trust in God and not in other things. Not only does our strength come from God, but finally, I want to show you today in this text that God can do more in your life when you are afflicted than when everything is going right. Look at our text today. The Bible tells me that Samson in his day did many great feats. Some of them is he killed a lion with his bare hands. Tell the story. He killed 30 Philistines, turned around and slaughtered many more Philistines. Then he killed 1,000 Philistines. Yes, sir. But verse number 30 says that in his dying act, he killed 3,000, which was more than he did while he was alive. Yes, sir. Can I tell you, God can use your life more after you done gone through something. Let me tell you, because when everything is going smooth, when we ain't got no problem, that's when we start trusting in ourselves. But let a dark cloud start rising. Let some rain start falling. Let a little trouble start coming to your life. And many of us start running back to God where we should have been in the first place. But this is how God uses trouble. This is how God uses trouble, and then we're going to get out of here. This is how God uses trouble. Because once God gives you something that afflicts you, he always has a purpose. Yes, sir. And once he has given you something that afflicts you, then you're able to turn around and help somebody else. Listen, many of us have started to be able to affect some folk. And the only reason we're able to reach them or to affect them is because of what we're going through. Yes, sir. To our cancer survivors, God bless you, because what happens is that even while you're going to the doctor, you can still be a witness. Even while you're still going through treatments, while you're sitting down getting your treatments, you can still encourage somebody else. Even while the doctor is talking to you and the doctor is shaking his head, you can tell the doctor, I've got another doctor that ain't never lost a patient. I've got another doctor that when everybody else leaves, he's able to touch my body. Anybody know that doctor today? When medicine didn't work, didn't it touch your body? When pills wouldn't do it, didn't it raise you back up? When doctors didn't have a plan or a diagnosis, didn't you walk into the church today that give God praise? He's worthy. He's worthy of the praise. God can use your life in affliction more than when everything is going right. I didn't fully understand that until I got to the funeral for my auntie. In her life, I remember her. She was strong. She was the image of strength. And when I saw her after she died, she was a shell of who she was. Help me, Holy Ghost. But at the funeral, God began to minister to me. Because what began to happen is when people came up to give their expressions, they didn't talk about what she did when she was strong. They began to talk about what she did when she was weak. Her pastor began to say when she was at church, she didn't always feel good. But he can remember her even trying in her weakness to greet people as they came into the church. He described it even in her weakness, that when he called her as her pastor, that she turned around and prayed for him. And it wasn't until then that I saw that God found her life more useful after she had gone through some stuff. Can I tell you that? Don't you despise the trouble in your life. Because if you don't have any trouble, you can't have a testimony. If you don't have any trials, you can't have any triumphs. But if God brings you some trouble, he's going to give you the strength to be able to make it over that trouble, for you to turn around and help somebody else. What happens even in the midst of our trouble, God wants us to be a witness. Yes, sir. God wants to use our lives to affect many people. Well, as I hasten to a close today, there's one last great example of one who fully trusted in God and one who knew where his strength came from. And that even in his dying act, he saved more dying than he did alive. I thought I was in a Baptist church. There's one more example of a great man that not only trusted in God, but realized that his strength came from the Lord. And in his dying act, he saved more dying than he was alive. I don't know if I'm in a room full of saints, but I was a sinner once in my life. And I'm so glad today that God looked beyond my faults and he saw my every need. That he loved me so much. Can I just preach the gospel for a little bit? That he came down through 42 generations, was born of a virgin, walked the dusty streets of Jerusalem. How many know he did good? He opened blind He unstopped their ears, untied tied tongues, made the lame to walk, the dumb to talk. He even raised the dead. But because he died, he saved more down than he was alive. When they tell me when he died, he was buried in a grave. And all of my sins went down in that grave. But all of my sins would be forgiven by God. But that's not how the story ends. How many know that 3 days later, he got up out the grave and declared, all power. I said, all power is in my hands. And because he lives, I can face them all. Because he lives, all fear is gone. Ain't he all right? Ain't he all right? Say yeah! Say yeah! He has power. But if we put our trust in him, if we see that he is the source of our strength, he can get more out of our lives. Yes, sir. Even while we go through the trials. God has a way, like no other, of using our lives for his benefit. So we don't have to say, why me? God knows what he's doing. And he wants to use our lives to affect somebody else. And if we can tell them that my help comes from the Lord, somebody that may not know the answer, somebody that may be in despair, can realize that perhaps the same God that blessed them. Yes, sir. Let's all rise. Doors of this church are open. If you're here today.
I get donations for the cause. I get donations from a lot of people. And today I want to present a donation to Sister Mavis Banks. We are praying for her. We love her. And God's going to take care of her. Amen.
Doors of this church are open if you're here today. Perhaps you're dealing with an affliction. Perhaps you've got a problem. You've looked everywhere. God has just stripped you down. God is just trying to get your attention so that you can put your trust in him, so that you can know that he is the source of your strength, that he has a purpose for your life. If you're here today and you've never professed him as Lord and Savior of your life, I want to extend the invitation to you now. Won't you come? Perhaps you come by Christian experience. You may have grew up in the church, but you've been away and you want to rededicate your life and come back and renew your fellowship with God and the church. Won't you come? Perhaps you come by Christian association. You may be new to the area. You're looking for a church home. Or even if you come by letter from another church and you consider New Poplar Springs, we're a missional church striving to reach higher heights. Won't you come? Even if we're not the church of your choice, we'll send you to where you want to go. Just come. Won't you come? There's one here today. The opportunity is yours.